G'day and welcome back to another DBZ Dokkan battle video. In this video we are going to take a look at the latest Chain Battle LR, sorry not Chain Battle, the latest Ultimate Clash LR. Got Chain Battle on my mind. This is the Shadow Dragon, so the destroyers born of Dragon Ball's Legion of Shadow Dragons unit. It's essentially all of the Shadow Dragons on one card. They are 130% GT bosses lead. They lower attack and defense on their 12 key, along with also lowering attack and defense on their 18 key with a medium chance stun, or a medium chance ability to stun the enemy. In terms of passive, it's pretty simple. Attack and defense of 70% plus an additional attack and defense of 70% when performing a super attack. They gain 4 additional ki when the enemy is in attack or defense down status, and they also give GT bosses category allies attack and defense of 30% and ki plus 3. Their active skill can be activated from the 7th turn of battle only and is all enemies attack and defense minus 30% and ki of 7 for them. Overall, their link set is Brutal Beatdown, Nightmare, Fear and Faith, GT, Shadow Dragons, Big Bad Bosses, and Legendary Power, and their categories are very limited, being only Shadow Dragon Saga, Joint Forces, and GT Bosses. In terms of link set, it's pretty strong actually. Big Bad Boss is a very powerful link. Legendary Power is obviously a common link amongst legendaries. Shadow Dragons and GT covers them for pretty much their Shadow Dragon Saga or GT Bosses team. And Fear and Faith, Nightmare, and Brutal Beatdown are also quite common amongst Omega Shenron and Sin Shenron units. In terms of build for these guys, you're going to want to build them into critical. However, to be honest with you, it is probably best if you just continually try to build them into crit as you get the dupes. These guys will be releasing over time because they will be a Ultimate Clash unit, so you'll be able to purchase a set of dupes each time for 370,000 battlefield memories in the store. Of course, 130% leader skill is not that great. The only other GT bosses lead is, well, currently is the Tech Super Shenron. Tech Super 17. Super Shenron would be a pretty cool unit, just don't know if they exist. In terms of damage, you can see they're 2.8 million, pretty damn good. And they had a pretty decent defensive stat, anywhere around 80k and around 80k, 90k. They are going to be gaining quite a significant amount on their super attack. They have that additional attack and defense of 70%, so they should have a pretty solid amount of defense. So overall, looking pretty decent so far. Nothing spectacular, but a pretty solid unit. The issue with them is that the majority of their effects are on attack and defense down statuses. They do debuff the enemy, but only from the 7th turn. So it's a little bit weird for them because obviously they definitely aimed at content where attack down and defense down can be utilized quite extensively. It's the reason why they gain so much ki from it. It's the reason why both of their attacks perform it, and it's definitely a staple of the Shadow Dragons team. Oceania Shenron kind of magnifies this. Obviously Sin and Omega Shenron both kind of specialize in this kind of treatment of units. So for the most part, you are going to want to run them in short form content. The issue is that their active skill does not coincide with short form content at all, because their active skill is only active from the 7th turn and there's no other requirement. So short form content that runs to the 7th turn is usually very unlikely. It's usually quite highly unlikely that you will ever have the SBR or ESBR run to the 7th turn, and so using their active skill can be somewhat strange, considering the fact that a lot of long form events where you might end up using it usually have their units resist either attack or defense relatively early on into the fight. So they usually resist attack or defense reduction, so it'll just be something that's quite interesting. Of course, it can be pretty cool to see, and I do think that they're still pretty useful without it. You know, the attack and defense down only activates the extra 4 key portion. Generally speaking, they still have very decent stats. Being an LR, they still have a pretty decent passive with the attack and defense of 70%, with the additional attack and defense of 70% upon super. They also, of course, have Big Bad Bosses, which is a highly powerful link that can be utilized as well. So for the most part, there's no real reason to say that they're not bad. I mean, to say that they are bad. Just for me, they definitely, do probably need some kind of so one, they need dupes. That's the most imperative thing. They are operating without any dupes at this current point in time. And then 2, even though they will have dupes, they definitely probably need a new running partner. The Sin Shenron physical typing EZA is pretty decent. They could definitely do with a new Omega Shenron or an Omega Shenron EZA, and they also need a new lead. They just need, Super 17 is great, but he doesn't really add much to the cohesion of a Shadow Dragons team. They could definitely do with a new kind of lead, in the form of an Omega Shenron, maybe a Sin Shenron, maybe a Nova and Ice Shenron or something like that, a conjoined card. But they could definitely do with a better lead. Just 150% stats across the board. Someone who synergizes better, maybe provides some buffing, maybe provides crit, maybe provides something else to the rotation. Something that will just really increase the offensive output of the unit, as well as also just being a very good unit themselves. So they're not bad in any way, shape or form, especially considering this is just 55%. They're hitting close to 3 million, which is pretty good. Their defense is sitting at a pretty decent clip, most of the way. I mean, if we look here, this is a pretty good rotation for them. No Big Bad Bosses or anything active. We have double supports currently at this point in time. Most of their links are active. They got 110,000 defense, and this is at 55%. So, 110,000 defense. They'll gain a large portion of defense upon super. They'll end up with a very, very respectable attack stat. There's really nothing wrong with that. Now end up with a very, very good defensive stat. They also have the ability to stun, which is quite helpful. They also obviously buffing the rest of their rotation as well, which is pretty good. So I don't see anything wrong with them. I think they're pretty damn good, especially for just 55%. I mean, anyone can you do one run of Ultimate Clash and you can basically pick these guys up. So for me, I think overall they're pretty good. I do think they could do with a little bit more options, especially in terms of leader skill. Definitely in terms of running partner. Having an Omega Shenron will help them a lot. Having a new Sin Shenron will help them a lot. Just more dragon synergy is going to be kind of the best way to go, because they're actually a great support. They can almost act as a pseudo support for the GT bosses / Shadow Dragons category team. They don't have many requirements, so instead of running them as a main unit, you could have a rainbow allowed support almost, one that thrives in the 3rd slot, one that does a lot of really good work, one that can really maximize other units in the rotation. It's just that GT bosses as a category in general is pretty damn weak, but them themselves, they don't have many limitations. Yeah, they gain 4 key from attack down, defense down, but it doesn't impact their defense or anything like that. They don't raise their defense or greatly raise their defense on super. So realistically speaking, you just kind of, need them to basically be basically be a floating support, which is pretty damn good for the category. So I don't think I don't think there's nearly enough tools to properly utilize them currently, but those will come over time. GT bosses will expand. We've got plenty of versions of Baby that we can have. We've got plenty of EZAs coming out. Omega Shenron deserves an EZA. He should be getting one eventually. We've got, new Omega Shenrons, we've got Sin Shenrons into Omega Shenrons, Nova and Ice Shenrons, joint cards. We've got plenty of promise for the category. So I don't really have like any distinctive issues in any way, shape or form. And personally, I think there's plenty of like good work that can still happen with the category. I think these guys definitely can, do a really good job. So yeah, I think for a 55%, they're pretty good. I do like what they're bringing to the table. I mean, here, we've got a pretty solid option. With close to 100k defense, we're going to gain a ton of defense on super. We've got a lot of links active. They do mesh very well. Rildo mesh as well with them. All the Shadow Dragons mesh is somewhat okay with them. Oceanus and Nova do share at least 2 links. Even the Super 17, the tech one, he shares GT. He shares GT. He shares Nightmare. He shares Fear and Faith, and he shares Legendary Power. The only thing is he kind of needs target Goku and Android category allies, so he's really not like orientated or geared for a GT Bosses team. But still, it's still like the early days for the category. It was only has one free-to-play lead, and it only has the Super 17 as lead. So for the most part, I think they do pretty well. I think it's a pretty good unit overall at 55%. I think you can pick it up with currency, especially if you are struggling for Super Dragon, Super Battle Road and things like that. You will get good results out of them, and you will be able to see some pretty good results overall. So if you do need to fill out your team, they are great. They do really beef up the other extreme enemies on the GT Bosses. The only real issue is they're just not on a lot of categories. Shadow Dragon Saga, great, they can help there. GT Bosses, they definitely help the fluidity of the team a lot, and they're a sub-lead, and join forces where they have like almost no synergy. So like that's it, like they've got 3 categories. So they're great, pick them up if you are struggling for Shadow Dragon Saga, if you are struggling for GT Bosses, units and things like that. But otherwise, just rather leave it, really. There's no real need to kind of invest into them, because they are just a little bit limited right now, even within their own teams in terms of team building. But yeah, that's pretty much it. So we'll take a look at their link set. Their link set is pretty decent. They're kind of like the inverse of Babidi and Deborah. Babidi and Deborah were a very powerful card, but didn't have the greatest link set. It was a little bit wonky, and their passive kind of didn't support the category. These guys are the exact opposite. They're just not on a lot of categories. Their GT Bosses and their link set kind of mesh really, really well. You can look at, what you can do without GT and those type of things. So Fear and Faith, Legendary Power, Big Bad Bosses. They do link somewhat okay with Goku Black and, Goku Rose units and things like that because of the Fear and Faith, because of the Nightmare. But like barring this tech, Zamasu and Goku Rose, they only really can link up with them. They don't share categories with any of the others. There's nothing you would want to run them on. You could link them up with those two and join forces, but that's kind of it. You could also link them up with this Int Cooler. He's on joined forces as well. They share a couple links, but again, not really the most spectacular combinations of units. It's just kind of like a joined forces option, but not really anything particular. If you drop Legendary Power, you do get a little bit more options, but again, nothing too crazy. You can already see units like Rildo appearing, and those are going to be your number 1 units. Omega Shenron, Sin Shenron, things like that. All of them are in this list, and those are really just going to be units you're going to want to use them with. They'll all pretty much share GT, which is something major. Of course, they all have Big Bad Bosses, which is great. Omega and Sin Shenron will have Shadow Dragons, whereas Rildo has Brutal Beatdown. The Shadow Dragons will have Nightmare and things like that. They can also share a couple links with Baby, nothing crazy, but Big Bad Bosses, GT and Fear and Faith. But that's kind of it. So they do have a decent link set. It is quite strong, but because of their limited categories, they can't really like just mesh it openly with a lot of units. But with the units they can mix with, there are a lot of really strong options. Sin Shenron, Omega Shenron, Baby, Rildo, all of those are good units that they can mesh with and do a lot of really good work with. So, you know, you got plenty of options at least. And with units like Oceanus and Nova, they share at least 2 links. But that's it from me, guys. Let me know what you guys think. Do you think they're a good card? Are you going to pick them up? Have you used them already? And yeah, otherwise leave a like if you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next one. Until then, take care, stay safe, and bye.